Throughout human history, a number of mythical narratives have captured our imagination, featuring tales of divine angels, colossal giants, and catastrophic disasters. While these stories initially seem captivating and enigmatic, closer examination reveals an alternative strand of human history that often goes unnoticed. One of these extraordinary narratives is found in the ancient Hebrew apocalyptic text known as the Book of Enoch, traditionally attributed to Enoch, Noah's great-grandfather. This ancient work reveals astonishing revelations about the origins of evil, the mysterious fallen angels, the powerful Nephilim, the cataclysmic flood, the prophesied Messiah, and the imminent end of time. Intriguingly, this text has remained hidden from the public due to its inclusion of information that delves into the surprising mysteries surrounding our origins, information that was ultimately excluded from the biblical canon. In addition to the Book of Enoch, another ancient manuscript discovered in Egypt carries a deeply disturbing message. These ancient texts invite us to explore their pages, as they promise to reveal astonishing secrets about our shared history that, for various reasons, have been kept hidden from general knowledge. Towards the end of 1946 or beginning of 1947, young Bedouin shepherds were in the vicinity of the ancient settlement of Qumran, located on the northwestern shores of the Dead Sea, in what is now known as the West Bank. During his pastoral duties, one of the young shepherds accidentally dislodged a rock in an opening in a cliff, resulting in a surprising and earth-shattering sound. Intrigued, they entered the cave where they stumbled upon a collection of large clay vessels. Among these vessels, 7 contained a treasure of leather scrolls and papyrus. These scrolls were later acquired by an antiquities dealer, and eventually found their way into the hands of several scholars, who determined that the texts were more than 2,000 years old. This discovery quickly sparked the interest of both treasure hunters and archaeologists alike. In the following years, tens of thousands of additional scroll fragments were discovered in 10 adjacent caves, totaling between 800 and 900 priceless texts. Among these texts was the Book of Enoch itself, segmented into 5 different books: the Book of Vigils, the Book of Parables, the Astronomical Book, the Dream Visions, and the Epistles of Enoch, which together comprise a total of 100 chapters. The Book of Enoch is a compilation of monumental works, each delving into significant themes, such as rewards, punishments, the end of the world, and the final judgment. His first book, comprising chapters 6 to 36, focuses mainly on topics such as angels, the tree of life, Jerusalem, and the universe. The Book of the Watchers within the writings of Enoch tells the story of the fallen angels mentioned in Genesis 6 verses 1 to 4. These angels seduced human women, resulting in the birth of the Nephilim, beings of great knowledge who played a role in the coming of the catastrophic flood, which ultimately led to the destruction of the Nephilim. The term Nephilim refers to the fallen, often described as massive, giant-like individuals. The relationship between the children of God and the Nephilim is a subject of various interpretations. Some believe that the sons of God refer to fallen angels who fathered offspring with human women, an idea found in the non-canonical Jewish source known as the First Book of Enoch. This interpretation remains widely accepted. In the First Book of Enoch, the Nephilim are portrayed as giants, which is consistent with the idea that they had enormous stature due to their supernatural origin. However, it is important to note that some have raised theological concerns about the suggestion that angels or demons could physically reproduce with humans. The second part of the Book of Enoch, known as the Parables of the Likeness, is an apocalyptic narrative that revolves around themes related to the Son of Man and the Ancient of Days. These ancient prophecies, which feature prominently in the text, share a striking resemblance to the Book of Revelation in the Bible, aligning with biblical teachings. Within the Book of Enoch there is also an astronomical book that provides intricate details about the stars and their roles. Additionally, the section called Dream Visions serves as a complete prophecy that spans all of human history, from the past to the present and the future, meticulously predicting events from the beginning of time to the end of time, and the final judgment. While the Book of Enoch contains elements that align with the Bible, it also presents contradictions. One notable contradiction concerns the mention of Noah in the Book of Enoch, even though the Bible teaches that Enoch was taken to heaven long before Noah's birth. This raises questions about how Enoch, who was supposed to be in heaven, could have knowledge of Noah and the events of the flood if he was the author of the Book of Enoch. Furthermore, in Enoch 10:8-9, God attributes all the corruption of the earth to a demon named Azazel, suggesting that the entire earth has been contaminated by the influence of Azazel, leading to the commission of all evil. Unlike Lucifer, commonly known as Satan or the devil, who is mentioned in the Bible, Azazel is not identified in biblical teachings. Satan is generally held responsible for problems in the world as the author of sin, and other specific demons are not mentioned in this context. The Book of Enoch also contains several astronomical and meteorological descriptions that are not in line with the Bible or contemporary scientific understanding. A notable example is found in chapter 33:1-4, where it is suggested that Enoch painstakingly mapped and numbered all the stars in the sky. However, according to Jeremiah 33:22 in the Bible, counting the stars is considered infeasible due to their immense number. Modern astronomers estimate that there are approximately 100 million stars in the Milky Way alone, and there are many more galaxies with millions and millions of stars each. Another instance of discrepancy is found in the Book of Enoch 41, where it portrays wind, snow, hail, and even the moon as emanating from a wooden container in the sky. Such descriptions are considered illogical, absurd, and inconsistent with both scientific knowledge and biblical teachings. These discrepancies shed light on why the Book of Enoch was not included in the Bible. Now, let's focus on the recent discovery made in Egypt, which sheds light on the history of ancient literature. This discovery, detailed in an article published in the Journal of Egyptian Archaeology, pushes back the origins of the ancient texts and underlines the deep fascination and creativity with which people of that time sought to unravel the mysteries of life after death. According to Rita Lucarelli, a curator of Egyptology at the University of California, Berkeley, the ancient Egyptians had a deep fascination with life in all its forms and saw death as the gateway to a new existence. Surprisingly, this newly discovered text, known as the Book of Two Ways, is one of approximately 20 known copies in the possession of contemporary archaeologists, and happens to be the oldest among them. The text was found inside a sarcophagus that had largely escaped the attention of tomb raiders and previous generations of archaeologists. This intriguing find emerged during excavations in a burial pit located in the Egyptian town of Di al-Basha. Unlike modern bound books, this ancient text was not a standalone volume. Instead, parts of it were inscribed directly on the inside of the sarcophagus. These inscriptions have been preserved on two deteriorated cedar panels featuring images and hieroglyphs. The inscriptions refer specifically to the Book of Two Ways, and other objects in the tomb have been dated to the time of Pharaoh Motep II, who reigned in Egypt until 2010 BC. The researcher behind this study, Harco Willems, an Egyptologist at the University of Leuven in Belgium, explained in an interview that these sarcophagus texts were intended to place the deceased in the realm of the gods. On this particular sarcophagus, which belonged to a high-status woman named Ankh, the instructions for the afterlife referred to her as he. In ancient Egypt, rebirth was more closely associated with male deities, so deceased women were to be referred to as he to more closely align with Osiris, the god of life after death. However, there were intriguing indications of customization within Ankh's version of the Book of Two Ways. The poem suggested that she may have faced an obstacle early in her journey, symbolized by a ring of fire. Over time, it is conceivable that she has faced challenges such as evil spirits, demons, and even earthly threats such as fire. Her defense against these adversities lay in the spells she herself cast as the deceased. Fortunately, the accompanying materials included detailed instructions for performing these spells. The maps within this book, as well as others like it, feature a bewildering array of sinuous lines and enigmatic figures, symbols that defy modern interpretation. Some experts believe that these depictions originated from images associated with life rather than death, and were intended to invoke rituals aimed at reviving deceased gods or humans. In any case, these texts were emblematic of the Renaissance, whether in the current world or another realm. Ancient Egypt is rightly considered the cradle of civilization, as both science and archaeology have shown that it was the origin of the earliest human development. Whether in art, literature, language, agriculture, urbanization, or engineering, the Egyptians seem to be the pioneers of technological advancement and prowess. You may think that the pyramids of Giza, mummified pharaohs and their hidden tombs are all there is to Egypt, but that is not even remotely true. Did you know that Egypt has blessed humanity with technology that we still use today? They were way ahead of their time. Some of their inventions are so complex that modern scientists cannot figure out how the ancient Egyptians had enough knowledge to create them. Not only that, they also equally focused on human development. Guess who invented toothpaste and toothbrushes? The Egyptians. Some ancient Egyptian technologies are so advanced that scientists are afraid of them. And in this video we will talk about some of these terrifying scientific secrets unearthed among the remains of ancient Egypt. The Egyptian civilization had a good knowledge of applied mathematics and engineering, which was reflected in the construction of the pyramids of Giza. The Egyptians were meticulous and precise in their construction style, following specific patterns and using specialized human resources under the control of a chief engineer and his subordinates. Geometry was a necessary byproduct of the surveying process and was used to preserve the layout and ownership of the land. Hellenistic Egypt is considered the origin of lighthouse technology. In Alexandria, there was a cantilever hoist that lifted the cargo of ships. The city's lighthouse, built in the 3rd century BC, was designed by Sostratus of Cnidus. The ancient Egyptians could work solid granite with bronze tools, which can be seen in the discovery of monumental stone buildings such as that at Saqqara. The obelisks are another engineering mystery, with 29 of them having survived to date. The shape of the pyramids and obelisks may have been inspired by natural phenomena related to the sun, suggesting that knowledge of astronomy influenced the construction methods of the ancient Egyptians. In ancient Egypt, ramps were used to move heavy objects, such as blocks, to build pyramids. The Great Pyramid encodes important mathematical constants such as pi, sigma, and Euler, known and used by the Egyptians thousands of years ago. The geometry of the Great Pyramid's elevation also encodes the proportions of the moon and earth. The Egyptians were experts in irrigation and built irrigation canals and ditches using their ancient Egyptian calendar. The ancient Egyptians practiced basin irrigation to take advantage of the floods of the Nile River and fertilize fields. They built land and banks to create basins that allowed water to sit for a month before being drained to downstream basins. They also built canals with gates to control the flow of water and form reservoirs in case of drought. The ancient Egyptians created water wheels and nilometers advanced for their time. The water wheels used the Shadaf counterweight system to irrigate crops. The nilometer measured the height of the river and was used to predict floods or droughts. The ancient Egyptians relied heavily on the water of the Nile, and these inventions allowed them to control it better. The ancient Egyptians had an advanced approach to agriculture and irrigation, which baffles modern scientists. Granite cylinders have been found that are confusing since it is not known what they were used for, and how they were carved without modern tools. Early humans used flint points to drill holes in teeth, bones, and shells, and it is thought that this material was used to carve granite cylinders. An example is Core 7, a cylinder engraved with concentric lines from 4,500 years ago, discovered near the pyramids by Flinders Petrie. Scientists are confused by a granite rock that looks like a drill core, suggesting that the ancient Egyptians could have drilled holes in solid granite, which is surprising since the copper tools of the time were not sufficiently powerful. If the Egyptians used diamonds to cut stone, we would have to look at history, since even today only diamonds are strong enough to drill granite. The concentric grooves in the Petrie granite rock are a mystery that defies our current knowledge. Ancient Egyptians managed to drill holes in solid granite with copper tools, according to archaeological evidence. However, the mysterious appearance of Core 7, found by British archaeologist Flinders Petrie, has baffled modern scientists. This cylinder appears to have been drilled with a modern diamond-tipped electric drill, due to its continuous spiral core pattern and the power needed to drill into granite. Experts have concluded that the drill used to make this core was more powerful than any modern electric drill, and there is no known tool that has this strength. A team of physicists from Russia and Germany discovered that the Great Pyramid of Giza can concentrate electromagnetic energy in its base and internal chambers. They used theoretical physics methods to investigate how the pyramid would respond to electromagnetic radiation, including radio waves, microwaves, gamma rays, X-rays, and ultraviolet light. They discovered that the base and internal chambers were where the scattered fields were concentrated. This groundbreaking study could help scientists design nanoparticles with desired optical properties. Although it is unlikely that the ancient Egyptians were aware of these unique properties of the pyramid, this discovery raises the possibility that they may have known more about physics than previously thought. Egyptian medicine was very advanced for its time and has left records in ancient papyri dating back at least 5,000 years. Papyri provide information about diseases, diagnoses, and remedies. Although early Egyptian medicine was based on spells and religious magic, doctors performed medical or surgical procedures. The most important papyri discovered include the Berlin Papyrus, the Ebers Papyrus, and the Kahun Papyrus, which focus on general pathology, gynecology, and pediatrics. The Edwin Smith Papyrus describes cases of trauma and Egyptian knowledge of human organs, including blood vessels and the heart. Until the Persian invasion in 525 BC, Egyptian medical practices remained more or less the same and simple non-invasive surgical procedures were performed. The Egyptians discovered the medicinal properties of local and foreign plants, and offered several recipes in their papyri for health problems. The Ebers Papyrus provides 800 remedies, including topical ointments, bandages, and oral medications. They discovered metal surgical tools in Kharstum, made of bronze, and surgery was common to treat physical injuries. The triage system classified injuries as treatable, treatable, and untreatable. Tools used included saws, spoons, tongs, knives, drills, forceps, and more. Circumcision was common, and prosthetics such as artificial toes, eyes, and tongues were used. The ancient Egyptians had good knowledge of surgery, mummification, and religious autopsy, which provided them with adequate information about human morphology. They even correctly guessed the function of some organs. They knew that blood was a transport medium that carried oxygen and removed carbon dioxide, and they were also aware of the pulse and how it was related to the heart. They theorized about channels that transported air, blood, and water around the body and developed a way to treat a sick person by giving them a laxative that would unblock these channels. The Ebers Papyrus mentions the enema as a method of administering medications. In general, some Egyptian medical practices, especially in the field of surgery, were effective, as described in the Edwin Papyrus. Ancient Egyptian doctors advised hygiene and a healthy diet to prevent disease, and they had extensive medical knowledge that has baffled modern scientists. Shipbuilding was vital to the Egyptian economy and culture, and they used their knowledge of aerodynamics to build advanced ships with adjustable sails and stern-mounted rudders. The Egyptians were the first to use heavily armed ships and built everything from small papyrus rafts to large vessels capable of carrying heavy loads. The Khufu ship is an example of a well-preserved ship that would be found sailing today. Although it was not until 2400 BC that they were able to build ships that could withstand the waves of the Mediterranean. At the time the pyramids were built, Egyptian boats did not have keels, but used ropes to prevent capsizing. They were propelled by oars and a tall sail. Ships traveling to Lebanon to obtain valuable timber were recorded around 1500 BC. The Egyptians discovered how to build keels and internally reinforced hulls at this time, leading to two new types of ships, one with wide hulls for carrying cargo, and another with narrow galleys for war. The Egyptians used sundials and constellations to find out their location during their sea voyages. Some experts suggest that the ancient Egyptians had knowledge of electricity, as crypts have been found beneath the Temple of Hathor in Dendra that may contain ancient light bulbs and an object with a striking resemblance to a light bulb. However, this is still the subject of debate among experts. Some believe that the ancient Egyptians may have discovered electricity, due to inscriptions found in the Temple of Hathor in Dendra that appear to depict an ancient light bulb. While some proponents of this theory suggest that the ancient Egyptians produced light through rituals, most of these theories have been debunked by professionals. Although there is still a possibility that the ancient Egyptians encoded a deeper scientific meaning in the images and texts discovered. The Egyptians made a great contribution in astronomy, and their precision is still applied today. Although not considered a separate science at the time, Egyptian knowledge was deeply rooted in religion and mythology. The 7,000-year-old stone circles located in Upper Egypt are proof of their importance to religious life. The ancient Egyptians made important contributions to astronomy. At first, they used astronomical texts to establish the dates of religious festivals. They also developed a system of constellations and painted star charts on tombs and temples. During the Greco-Roman period, Claudius Ptolemy stood out as one of the most important astronomers of the time, cataloging more than 1,000 stars and describing how to predict planetary behavior. The Egyptians observed that the flooding of the Nile coincided with the appearance of the stars at the gate, and they used this observation to develop a 365-day calendar. His knowledge of astronomy also guided the orientation of sacred buildings and the setting of New Year's Day. The Egyptians believed that their gods lived in the kingdom of Osiris, which was located in the constellation Orion. The three pyramids of Giza represent the stars of Orion's belt, while the Sphinx represents the constellation Leo. Today, astronomers have discovered that the pyramid was designed to look toward the circumpolar stars in the northern sky very precisely. The ancient Egyptians, with their knowledge of astronomy, discovered variable stars and accurately calculated the Aldol period before the Europeans. They developed tools such as the sundial, the hourglass, and the marquette to measure stellar azimuths and divided the day into hours. They may also have proposed the idea of a spherical Earth. They built astronomically aligned temples with roofs to view the stars and calculate the hours at night. Although their observation of stellar alignment was not completely accurate, they were more advanced in astronomy than any other ancient civilization. The ancient technology discovered in Egypt eerily resembles that of the 21st century. We should not underestimate their civilization and their progressive approach and vast knowledge. Now on the Nile River, once known as the source of life of ancient Egypt, and one of the longest rivers in the world, has been a prominent source of sustenance and cultural enrichment for millennia. However, recent reports have revealed the unthinkable. The mighty Nile River has finally dried up. This catastrophic event, although it may seem unimaginable, has led to an unexpected development, the emergence of something previously unknown to the world. The Nile River has long been considered the cradle of civilization, for its vital role in the development of ancient Egypt. Stretching 6,650 kilometers through 11 African countries, this massive waterway has been a crucial source of life and prosperity for countless generations throughout history. The Nile has shaped not only the landscape, but also the societies that have depended on it. To understand the historical importance of the Nile River, we must first recognize the central role it played in the growth and stability of ancient Egypt. The Nile was critical to the development of ancient Egyptian society, providing a reliable source of water and fertile soil for agriculture. This allowed the formation of cities and the growth of commerce and culture. Additionally, the river was an important transportation route, which encouraged the exchange of ideas and cultural practices with other civilizations. The ancient Egyptians considered the Nile to be a divine gift from the gods, and this was reflected in many of their religious practices and rituals, such as annual flooding ceremonies. The Nile was crucial to the construction of iconic monuments such as the pyramids of Giza and the temples of Luxor and Karnak, and also played a fundamental role in the history of Africa as a source of water and a natural boundary. The river influenced the distribution and development of several civilizations, including the Nubian kingdom of Kush and the Ethiopian kingdom of Aksum. The construction of the Aswan High Dam in the 1960s had a significant impact on the flow of the Nile and the people living in the area. The dam on the Nile allowed control of water for power and irrigation, but it also displaced communities and lost important archaeological sites. The river has been important since ancient Egypt and has facilitated livelihood, trade, and communication. The recent drought has raised concerns about the future of the region that has depended on the river. The historical importance of the Nile is undeniable, as it has been vital for the development of numerous civilizations and has left an indelible mark on the landscape and people. The Nile River has been a source of inspiration for architecture, religion, and history, and has had a significant impact on the political and economic development of the region. The recent drought has raised concerns about the future of the region, with experts attributing its decline to a combination of environmental factors, such as climate change. Rising temperatures and more frequent droughts have reduced the amount of water entering the river system, while decreased rainfall has further exacerbated the reduction in water flow. Although the future of the Nile is uncertain, its past remains a rich human story that resonates in the world today. The growing demand for water from the 11 countries bordering the Nile has contributed to its drought. Rapid urbanization, industrialization, and population growth have put additional pressure on the Nile basin's limited water resources, with water withdrawals for irrigation being a large part of water consumption. Additionally, the construction of dams and other water infrastructure projects along the river have had unintended consequences on the ecosystem and hydrological balance of the river, although they also provide important benefits such as flood control and hydroelectric power generation. The Aswan Dam and the Ethiopian Renaissance Dam have reduced the flow of the Nile, and there are concerns about the impact of the Ethiopian Dam on downstream water availability. Deforestation and land degradation have also contributed to the decline of the Nile, and pollution is another factor that has affected the river. The Nile River drought is caused by a variety of environmental factors, such as climate change, water demand, dam construction, deforestation, pollution, and overexploitation of groundwater. These problems affect the quality and quantity of river water, endangering aquatic life and human health. The solution to this problem requires collective efforts to protect and preserve the environment. The Nile drought has serious consequences on the region's agriculture, public health, and economy, and it is essential to address it to protect the livelihoods and water security of millions of people. The Nile drought is seriously affecting agriculture and water security in the region. Agriculture is essential to the livelihoods of many people in the Nile basin, but water scarcity has reduced agricultural productivity and increased the risk of food insecurity and malnutrition. Additionally, access to clean, safe water has become more difficult due to reduced river flow, increasing the risk of waterborne diseases and hygiene issues. The reduction in the flow of the Nile poses serious challenges to the survival and well-being of millions of people in the region. The Nile drought has negatively affected the region's economy. Declining agricultural productivity and reduced water availability have negatively impacted food supply chains and the operations of river-dependent industries, contributing to economic stagnation and rising unemployment. In addition, the drought has intensified tensions and conflicts between riparian countries over access to Nile resources, such as the controversial Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. The depletion of the Nile has had significant ecological consequences and affects the livelihoods of communities that depend on the river's resources for fishing, tourism, and other activities. lack of sediment has led to soil erosion and loss of fertile land, which has further undermined agricultural productivity and contributed to soil degradation. The immediate consequences are profound, affecting all aspects of life in the region, from agriculture and water security to public health, economic stability, and regional cohesion. The depletion of the Nile has revealed treasures hidden beneath its bed, sparking interest in the history and archaeology of the region. The decrease in water has made visible ancient settlements and artifacts that were submerged or buried. These archaeological finds have the potential to shed new light on the history and culture of the ancient civilizations that prospered along the Nile. Ancient tombs, temples, statues, boats, and everyday artifacts have been found in the Nile River, revealing information about the life and customs of the civilizations that lived along the river. Examination of these artifacts provides valuable insights into the beliefs, rituals, and customs of these civilizations, as well as helps reconstruct the economic, social, and cultural systems that shape the region and its inhabitants. Furthermore, the study of these artifacts can inspire new sustainable strategies for architecture and engineering. As the world grapples with the consequences of the drying up of the Nile River, discoveries that have emerged from the riverbed offer a ray of hope. New treasure finds in the region offer a great opportunity to delve deeper into the history and cultural heritage of the area. The knowledge gained can not only improve our understanding of the past, but also inspire innovative solutions for the future. The findings can boost tourism in the region and contribute to the local economy, as well as provide resources for conservation and additional research. The discoveries have had a significant global impact, capturing the imagination of people around the world and fueling renewed interest in the history, culture, and archaeology of the region. Furthermore, the findings have far-reaching implications for our understanding of the past and future in fields such as science, technology, and cultural preservation. Archaeologists and historians can gain valuable insights into the lives of the people who inhabited the region over the centuries, challenging existing historical narratives and shedding new light on the complex interplay of cultures, commerce, and politics that shaped the basin of the Nile and its inhabitants. There is also potential to inspire innovation in various scientific and technological fields, such as the study of ancient water management systems that could be applied to contemporary challenges, as well as new environmentally friendly construction techniques for architecture and engineering. New discoveries in the Nile River have a major global impact. They allow for a greater understanding of the history and culture of the region, and can inspire innovative solutions for the future. The findings can also boost tourism, support the local economy, and conservation. Furthermore, international collaboration of researchers can foster knowledge exchange and the advancement of scientific knowledge. Global awareness of the importance of preserving cultural heritage can also increase. In short, these findings challenge perceptions of the past, inspire innovation, and promote the importance of preserving our shared cultural heritage. The surprising discoveries beneath the bed of the Nile River have a global impact spanning issues such as cultural preservation, sustainable development, and international collaboration. The Nile region faces urgent challenges, including water shortages due to the drying up of the river. To address this, governments, international organizations, and local communities must work together to develop innovative and sustainable solutions, such as investing in water-saving technologies and exploring alternative water sources. Cooperation between riparian countries will be key to ensuring equitable access to water resources and developing a shared vision for the future of the Nile. The decline of the Nile River presents challenges and opportunities for the region. Water scarcity requires sustainable solutions and the adoption of climate-resilient agricultural practices. Archaeological discoveries can boost tourism and generate jobs. Furthermore, the region can take advantage of the knowledge acquired to advance science and technology. Regional cooperation and the promotion of intercultural understanding are essential for a prosperous and sustainable future. The evolution of the Nile region demonstrates human resilience and ingenuity.